All right, guys, what's going on? Let's get into it today. We're going to be going through the basic business financial understanding of ads and how we can kind of start to think about calculating our long-term ROI for this. So I want to talk about the concept of the snowball versus the spiral. Because the way that I like to think about this is either we are creating this mountain, ever growing, ever forward snowball that becomes more powerful and more impossible to break as we continue on down the road, right? And so it's kind of like I like to also think about this as like the rich get richer, right? The snowball as it grows has more surface area, can gather more snow, and the bigger becomes bigger, and it becomes exponential, right? Or we think about the spiral, and the spiral is going downwards. Those are things that are going to start to lead you down the trajectory of your business, closing, failing, struggling, not doing well, or your burnout, right? So first, let's talk about the snowball. This is the stuff that gets me excited. This is honestly why I wanted to work with Lasso. Is teaching gym owners this or teaching coaches this is one of my favorite things. So first, what we think about I like to try to get all of my clients doing this. Profitably acquiring new customers, right? If you can create a business model where you can profitably acquire customers on day one, and you can do this well, then once you start marketing, right, you're off to the races. The snowball sort of can take care of itself once you can do this one thing. So when we're thinking about Lasso and we're thinking about who is the most successful with us, clients or gyms who have gone through the hard work to create an onboarding packaging system that they know will be profitable on day one or in the very soon future. So like 30 to 60 days from now, right? We don't want to become profitable in month 6 or month 5, or clients have to stay with us, through this journey for us to see the ROI on that. We want to see the ROI right away. Okay. So as you guys are looking at your business systems, I want you to think about this and keep this at the forefront. We'll talk about this more in a second. The other two things we need to understand is LTV and ARM. So lifetime value of our clients, and then the average revenue per member. These two numbers are very important to understanding if we're getting a positive ROI, and then what we need to do from a marketing standpoint to see that numbers come back to us on the bottom line. We need to think about how we can reinvest profitably into marketing. Right. So marketing should always be something that is a leading indicator. It should be a kind of something that gives us profitability or helps our bottom line right away. So not just helps our revenue, right? There is a difference there. You can see revenue increase in lockstep with market spend or with advertising spend. You're not necessarily seeing that come through to the bottom line. All right. So we want to make sure that we can reinvest profitably into marketing. What we also think about is there are tangential benefits to running ads. Okay. More eyeballs on you and less on the competition, right? So if we have a marketplace, everyone exists in a marketplace. That marketplace is competing for eyeballs. Okay. We're competing for attention. And as people start to look for gyms, they've got a series of choices. What we want is when they start to go through that journey and they're looking for that series of choices, that they can come upon you and that they can start to choose to follow you. They can start to like your posts. They can start to watch your videos. They can go to your website. They can fill out the forums. They can be a part of the journey. They can get their name on the mailing list, whatever it might be. But those eyeballs come to you, right? Versus your competition, okay? And a lot of that is just being at the right place at the right time. And that's kind of why we market, is we want to always be at the right place at the right time, right? When, it's like you've been chasing a really cute girl for a really long period of time. And she breaks up with that boyfriend right at that moment. It's like you want to be there in that moment, right? Like you want to be prepared to be in the best seat possible to acquire that cute girl that you've liked for so long, right? Or, whatever it might be. In this case, it's going to be the client, okay? So we think about this, then we want the rich to become richer, okay? If we can profitably acquire new customers, we can start to gain more eyeballs, and we can reinvest profitably into marketing. We can then reinvest that bottom line money into better coaches, systems, and facility. Then we start to stand out. Our marketing becomes more powerful as we gain more powerful word of mouth. We gain more market share, and we want to wow our customers. So we want people to feel consistently that not only are we in front of them all the time, but also the clients who do go through that funnel, they're wowed by what we're giving them, and we are reinvesting in that consistently. So when you come into our facility, right away, you're going to know that you're paying for a premium product because we've designed our lobby that way. We've designed all of our equipment that way. If a dumbbell starts to break down, we immediately buy new dumbbells. If a barbell is not operating properly, we service it, and we pay people to do that. And we can do that because we are able to acquire customers profitably. And that's the cycle that starts to become really powerful. We then have a better product than other gyms in the area. So we can increase our LTV and our ARM. And when we can increase our LTV and our ARM, then we can more profitably acquire new customers. And we're back to the top of the cycle. So we can reinvest in more marketing and the cycle repeats. Okay. This is the snowball effect that we want. Okay. We have to have a couple things for this to be successful, right? We have to understand where our profitability is, where our fixed costs and our variable costs are, how those flex and move with new clients, and then what we're paying from an ad perspective. So profitably acquiring new customers and LTV. So what you want to think about here is adding up your costs to fulfill a new client. Okay. And there's a lot of stuff that might entail this, right? You might pay a sales guy. Like for us, top of the funnel down, right? You pay Lasso. So you have to calculate up what their cost per lead is and what their cost per new client is. You then pay our sales guy. We pay our personal training coaches. And then we have a cost per like new unlimited membership. That is kind of our fixed costs, right? You add all that up together and then you multiply it by 10%. And so now we get 10% profitability out of a new sign up. Okay. That's the way it works. So after we fulfill everything, after I pay my sales guy, after I pay my personal training, after I pay Lasso for the lead, after I go through all of that, I still want to come out with a couple of dollars because then I'm not losing money as I go through a marketing. It's not like a lagging or a loss leader. It's something that turns us a profit right away. Okay. That's kind of our main goal here. All right. But we do need to tweak and change a little bit of our pricing model, maybe, or even how we onboard new clients to make this happen. And again, these are just best practices. Now, not every gym is going to be set up to do this. Some of you are going to be LBOs, okay? Those low barrier offers. These are your 5 for 5s, your free weeks, your, first month freeze. Like these are, different style of gyms. It is really hard to run these gyms and run marketing in these gyms because they need to know it's maybe month 2 or month 3 or month 4 when they become profitable from a new client. So now it is a lost leader, right? Where you're going to lose money right away in the hopes of retaining that client long enough for you to turn a sizable profit for that. And then you reinvest from there. 2 different models, right? I encourage you guys to think about how you can acquire customers profitably. That's going to be one of the easiest ways to be successful here. So let's think about LTV and profit margin. Okay. This is kind of what we think about, right? If we think my LTV, so our LTV at our gym is about $1,800 to $2,500, depending on which kind of style you look at. But as we start to look at that, I like to use $2,000. Okay. Our average profit margin is somewhere around 25%. And so our average profitability of a new signup is around $500. Okay. So for me, if I sign up one new client, I know that we're going to profit $500 from that. Okay. Over the lifetime of all of these clients kind of average together. So that's what we like to think about, right? So then if I can sign up 2 new customers from that, right? Then when I'm making that $1,000, okay, that's going to pay for the services of Lasso every month, right? That's kind of the way that I like to think about it. So it's a pretty low bar to jump over, right? But again, we've worked really hard to make sure that we profitably acquire new customers and that we have a really high LTV, right? So as you know your LTV, a couple things can impact that. Obviously, that's your monthly ongoing costs, right? What is the actual cost that you're charging? If you have a low monthly cost, so if you're only charging $100 a month, to get to a $2,000 LTV, it's going to take you, a year, 2 years, basically, right? 20 months of training that person to get to that mark. But if your, initial onboarding is $389 or $399 for 3 months, you're at $1,200 initially. And then if they go down to, $240 a month, right? Just to kind of use examples that we have, then you're starting to get to the point where, okay, after 6 months, I'm at my LTV, right? And that's pretty easy. That's a low bar for most gyms to be able to hold customers for 6 months. So understanding what your profitability is key there, right? This helps for LBO and for the different models that we see. Now let's talk about the spiral. This is kind of your other end of things here. The spiral downward, important to understand, because what marketing is not a gym savior. Okay. And this is what we see. A lot of people will come in and they don't know what their LTV or their ARM is. They have no clue how much money they make off of their customers. This is a really hard way to run a business. I actually think it's kind of impossible to run a business because you don't actually know how to price and you don't actually know how to service and fulfill if you don't know these numbers. Okay. So if you have an unknown LTV and an unknown profit margin, it's impossible for you to find out what your profitability is on new clients when you start marketing. Therefore, you have mispriced services. When we have mispriced services, typically we have low margin and low profit gyms, right? So I would say anything on a less than 10% profit margin is on life support or is dying as a gym, right? But again, there's even gyms that just don't know that, right? They don't know what their profit margin is. So therefore, we're paycheck to paycheck, right? We survive each month. Maybe we pay ourselves more or less given on how we did on a certain month, rather than saying, hey, I make $100,000 a year and I pay myself that out, period. What am I in profitability on top of that $100,000 a year? That's kind of what we have to think about. But if we're in this downward spiral, we'll be paycheck to paycheck, and our pay as an owner will fluctuate based on how we're doing with that. So it's not really like now you don't have a business, right? You have like this weird thing that takes up a bunch of your time and money. So equipment will start to get old, broken, not replaced or maintained. Now your product is suffering, right? So now when people walk into your gym, they're going to think, well, why would I pay top dollar for this? This gym looks like it's not clean. The equipment's not very nice. The owner seems burned out. I don't even know why he's here doing this, right? Like you start to get some of these questions. People don't feel like it's a premium service. Coaches get burned out and they quit. You're not able to pay them top dollar. After a long enough time, the burnout's going to hit them and they're going to start to go and look for things that are better suited for growth. They're going to become a firefighter. They're going to become a cop. They're going to go into the military. They're going to start to transition and look, because there's no momentum in your gym. There's no positive force. There's no snowball. And so they get burned out. People need to be around positive momentum. Things need to be happening. You need to be growing, improving, developing. But if we're not, all these pricing things are not correct, then we'll start to fall off. Rent and cost increases will come, right? You will have to renew your lease. You'll have to renew your mortgage. You'll have to go through balloon payments, refinancing, whatever it is. Your costs will increase. Our property taxes just went up a ton, right? As these things start to go, if you're not moving your profit margins up, then these things will come in and put you out of business when they happen, right? So this is what that spiral downward looks like. And what we see is somewhere along these lines, people will be in this downward spiral and they'll try to turn on marketing efforts as a last ditch effort to save. But it's too late. You can't. Marketing will not solve your business problems, right? Marketing will make an already powerful business who has the right systems, the right onboarding process, and all those things. It will pour gasoline on the fire. What it will absolutely not do is fix any of this stuff. Okay. So just things for you guys to be thinking about as you're onboarding here at Lasso, that you need to be clear-eyed and understanding of how it benefits you and where the real benefit lies, right? So a couple other things that I think about here. I talked about it a little bit at the beginning. Actually, maybe put it on the end. Did I? Yeah, understanding ROI. Okay. So tracking metrics, right? The big thing you want to think about is we will provide you some metrics with the growth scorecard. It's very important that you guys keep up with that. But we also need to have an understanding of our LTV and our ARM, and then also a rough number of retention. We need to know that from you guys so that we understand where our holes might be, right? So top of the funnel is new leads, right? That's an easy one for us. Like we usually knock that one out of the park. We're solid there, right? It's very consistent for us. As we go down the funnel, then, are your lead nurture systems good? Do you actually get people onto discovery calls or in the gym? How are you with sales, right? When people do come into the gym, what percentage do you close? Of those new clients, then, are you signing them up profitably? That's a big thing that I look at. We see gyms sometimes that'll sign up 11 new clients in a month, and they'll look in their next number down is new revenue added. And at 11 clients, they'll say $1,500 new revenue. It's like you run some math. You're like, well, that's like $145 a client. I mean, that's barely going to cover what you guys are paying, right? As opposed to a gym that's doing $399 for their first month and you sign up 11 clients. Well, now you're signing up $4,700, something like that. Like that's the difference. It's a world of difference, right? And so if you track your metrics, you'll understand this stuff better. Okay. And this is what we do as we start going through coaching is we're triaging your business. Where is the problem, right? If you're losing too many clients out the back door, our retention, our services, we have problems within the business structure. If we have LTV or ARM problems, we have a mispricing problem, right? And if we have gross scorecard problems, then that usually means we have a sales problem. All right, this is a big one. New webs, okay? When I sign up a new client, my goal is every new client that signs up is to turn that at least into one more new client. So referrals, okay? That can be a husband or a wife. Those are the easy ones. That can be a friend, a coworker. That can be a spouse. That can be a kid, right? Joining our kids program. Whatever it is, right? However you find that should be your goal. Because a lot of times ads are going to be cold traffic. These are people who are not already associated with your business, okay? As we start thinking about that, if it's not already associated with our business, that means it's a whole new referral network from that person. That means a new workplace environment. That means a new family structure, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, cousins, parents, etc., right? A whole new web of people that they know. And as we start going down that web, that could be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new people that you get access to from cold traffic. I think this is the real benefit of cold traffic, right? Especially if you're running a fantastic service that gets great word of mouth, your whole goal after years becomes just getting new webs. Like, what corners am I not in? Like, oh, I haven't tapped the pickleball market, right? Or I haven't tapped the country club market or whatever it is, right? As soon as you start to get a couple webs in there, then you can start to really, grow exponentially from the inside. I like to look at my website traffic. When I started running ads, my website traffic almost doubled. Then I start to do better with blog posts, with SEO. My podcast starts to get more listens and downloads and views. And I start to organically get some new traffic there, which is a really powerful thing as people start to search for fitness in our area. Start looking at followers on social media, right? Where are we at in terms of Instagram and Facebook followers? As we start to see that slowly trickle up, we'll be seen more by the algorithm for posts that are doing really well. If you're doing a really good job on social media, you're probably tagging all of your new clients. And so if you're tagging your new clients and they're sharing and reposting, now all of a sudden we're getting exponential views on our social media from people who are potentially ad clients. We start thinking about mailing lists and SMS lists, right? When I start to run an internal offer, or I start to host a new nutrition seminar or a challenge, and I put it out in a newsletter, or like we're revamping our kids program. We're doing this whole new big blowout thing. We're doing a big combine for our athletes. Pop that out. My mailing list is thousands and thousands of people from all these lasso ads. These are all people that now I can send and do some internal marketing to. And so these are some of these are seen and some of these are unseen ROIs that we get from marketing. But the idea is, as we start doing these things, we're in front of eyeballs that otherwise we just are not. Organically, you will never be able to get in front of this many eyeballs on a consistent basis. And so we want to get to a point where we never turn the ads off ever, no matter what, because thinking back to that analogy, that's the time where it's like, hey, let's go back to the analogy. You've been chasing this girl for so long, and you get to a point where she breaks up with her boyfriend, but you're in Japan for 6 months because you turned off your ads. And then you come back to find out that actually she broke up and she was single and really lonely for 4 months, was really looking for somebody, but then she ended up joining another gym. Right, or finding another boyfriend, if we're using the analogy, right? You missed your window. And so we need to stay on the game. And to do that, we have to acquire profit. We have to acquire profitably. We have to reinvest those profits. We have to increase our LTV and ARM over time. We have to reinvest those things back into better equipment, better coaches, better facility, and more marketing, right? keep the cycle positive. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. And thank you guys for watching this. Appreciate it.